DVT prophylaxis I'm going to cover in last 5 minutes. Something we orthopedic surgeons have been trying to find out what is the best combination for last maybe 30 years. So this is the place where I work, and statement number one, there is no such coefficient of correlation that has proved, or a good paper that has proved, that DVT and pulmonary embolisms are related. Independently they can have, and you can see in this particular pyramid there, you can have a pulmonary embolism which is part of the tip of the pyramid, whereas symptomatic DVT and silent DVT are yet undiscovered. Why is DVT common after TKR and THR? Surgery itself. It's a physiological insult that induces hypercoagulable state, manipulation of the extremity, direct or indirect vessel wall trauma and intimal damage, kinking of the major veins, and induced venous stasis and potential for the development of DVT. Now, incidence was 35% in 84, and we are now all four variants, which has come down to almost 0.9%. We can't have it zero, but let's find out strategies in 2025. Development of anticoagulants, everyone knows the cascade from 50s of warfarin and 30s in heparin. Now we are with this modern, though expensive, oral substitutes. The optimal agent has not been identified. These are the variables on which we select our combination, and we are all concerned about prevention of fatal PE in all our cases. Asians have a low incidence of DVT based on some of the papers and warm climate and vasodilatation. And this is our own Dr. Agarwala's paper on DVT and D-dimer correlation. I think when you find out a protocol, one has to have a risk stratification of DVT, and there are many scores. Caprini is basically for all surgical branches. Parvizi is especially for orthopedics, and Wells score. You can see this is Caprini score, which is changed in 2013. Suffices to say anything between 5 and 6 is high risk. This is Parvizi, more specific and individualized risk model in situations that we call as the risk patients. This is the Wells score. Anything more than 2 DVT is likely. So there is no consensus on optimal method for risk in any of these stratification strategies. We all know these are the risk factors. There is no doubt age over 70, history of VTE, malignancy, hypercoagulable state, and history stroke or MI are the risk factors. We have to have a multifaceted approach when prophylaxis is concerned. Early mobilization with rapid recovery protocol and patients standing within 2 hours of surgery is one of the greatest advances that has helped us to find a good protocol. Mechanical prophylaxis with compression stockings, which are specifically pressurized at particular areas. Pharmacologic prophylaxis and all these agents we are aware of. So this is in a nutshell completing the list of things that are available. Rapid recovery protocol, I just said, you make the patient walk within 2 hours, and all DVT risk itself is gone down because of patient's walk and possibility of PE. So this is the patient walking 2 hours after the surgery. And in mechanical, we have so many modalities, but the best thing is 18 millimeter of pressure should be maintained at ankle, and remove only when walking and bathing. So these are the recommendations from experts how to use the modality, and it is mobile compression device works as well as most of the pharmac agents in terms of affection. I will summarize by saying low dose aspirin has been in all trials, has been, whether it is Knee Society or AOS, it has been successful in preventing DVT in good numbers. The patient cohort size was 2 lakh plus. So low risk patient, aspirin is effective, low dose aspirin is effective, that is 75 to 150 per day. High risk patients, aspirin is good. Patient selection should be balanced between safety and efficacy. And in fractures, which is very common when we do a bipolar or Austen Moore, aspirin works better. All rest, the cells are down, and that proves the popularity amongst the patients and surgeon community. Does anticoagulant impact prosthetic joint infection? Yes, there is this Parvati paper. If you get soakage after the agent's introduction, then you will have more chance of infection, as you can see in this particular study. So this is Knee Society. Meta-analysis. Aspirin does not influence the formation of fibrin and inhibit platelet. Other drugs, and total strength of the market is as many $1 million, as you can see. We come to the end, and these are the various guidelines: SCCP 14 days, NICE guidelines. Not possible to cover everything in 5 minutes, but just trying to mention elective TKR aspirin and elective THR aspirin is proved to be one of the most effective agent for DVT prophylaxis. AOS guidelines 10 to 14 days. Orthopedic surgeons should focus on safety and efficacy of VTE prophylaxis agents. The latest guidelines from ACCP directly endorse those from AOS, directly endorse aspirin as an effective agent for VTE. Sufficient published data that demonstrate efficacy of aspirin in the prevention of VTE following total joint arthroplasty. Aspirin is inexpensive, easy to administer, reasonably well tolerated, requires no blood monitoring, and we really don't know if the guidelines will change after COVID because it has affected the clotting mechanism. So our protocol is aspirin 75 milligram, 14 days in low risk, 28 days in high risk, one after the dinner, one tablet, and patient must walk after 2 hours or within 2 hours, and mechanical compression together with ecosporin. I think this is one of the reasonable protocol that I follow for last about 10 years. Thank you for your attention.